All right. I think we are live inside of the Profitable Christian Business Owners Community, and I am so pleased today. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneur Journey podcast. And I'm just overjoyed to have my guest today, Karmen Booker. We met, it's probably about a month or two ago, and we had a really, really delightful conversation. And I want her to share some of her expertise and her story with you today. And I think it's going to hopefully leave a big impact on you. So I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll kind of dive into it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Doug, for having me here. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I'm a retired attorney, and I'm also a business and nonprofit consultant. And I have a company called Help You Perfect Professional Services, which is a business consulting firm. So what I do is I establish corporations, limited liability companies, and nonprofit organizations. And we help nonprofits get their federal and state tax exemption status and get funding for their programs and services. Also help with board development. And I also write contracts of any kind. It could be real estate, entertainment, business service agreements, joint venture, partnership agreements, and I do trademark searches and registrations to protect your brand, your business name, and logo on a national level. And I also provide estate planning services because estate planning is so very important, especially in these times.
Wow. Wow. And I will say that in doing my research for this interview, I was like, this woman is smart. She's accomplished a lot of things, and she just has knowledge about so many things. So I can't wait to dive into that. But we like to have a little bit of fun to start things off. So I'm going to ask you kind of some getting to know you questions, because it can't just be all business, right? People want to know more about you than just your business stuff. So the first question is kind of business related. What led you to specialize in business consulting and nonprofit development?
Okay, very good question. During law school, I took a business law course, and that was my favorite class. And my dad was very instrumental in motivating me and empowering me and encouraging me to go ahead and have my own business.
Mm.
So I took him up on it. So after law school, I did work for the DC government for a while and other private companies. And I started my business part-time. And then in 1994, I just took a leap of faith, literally a leap of faith in God and His Word, and started doing my business full time. And God has truly met me. He's sent the clients, He's given me strategies. He's allowed me to help other people through the books that I write. And that's one of my passions as well.
Yeah. So you've written 15 books, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things where I was doing my research. Wow, 15 books. That is a lot of books. And that
Yeah,
was before they had all these computers writing books for us, right?
that's right. You're
Oh,
right.
so quite the accomplishment. And I love what you said in there, because I'm sure a lot of the listeners can resonate with taking the leap of faith about just knowing God has your back. If it's the way that God has pointed you, you know that you can't go wrong, right?
That's right.
because
You can't.
because it's His plan, not your plan.
That's right. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so yeah, awesome, awesome. Speaking of that, I do you also do some ministry work? Is that right?
Yes, I have a ministry called Wings of Love Women's Ministry, and we help women overcome domestic violence, abuse, and other setbacks by helping them to see that they're really God's masterpiece created by God and that they have a God-given purpose. So I help them to discover their God-given purpose and motivate them to fulfill it.
Wow,
So I've been doing this for
nice.
about 12 years.
Nice. So is what my question really is there a balance there? Like, is there, like, how do you balance the ministry work with the business work, right? How do you compartmentalize the time, I guess?
Okay, well, I have a weekly schedule.
Mm.
So certain days, Tuesdays and Thursdays are dedicated for ministry, and the other days are for business. And I do take time off on the weekend,
As you
Saturday
should.
and Sunday.
The reason I ask that is because there are other people in the audience, I'm sure, that are involved in a ministry or would like to do a ministry, but they're like, how do I work it into what I do? So it seems like you've done a very good job of just saying these are the times that I'm going to be working on my ministry and times that I'm going to be working in my business. So
Right.
um And it's funny because we had a discussion yesterday on the Entrepreneur Connect about balancing faith, family, all of these things. And one of the key points was we have a concept of time, which God doesn't, right? So if we're doing stuff for God's will, he gives us the time, right?
Yeah.
He, whether it's taking something off of our plate that didn't need to be there, or it's something, or whether it's making something more efficient than we thought it could be, all those type of things. We sometimes get so stressed out about time, but we know who controls it all, right?
Just develop a good time management system and work it. Now, of course, that's going to change over time. So be open to making changes to that time management system.
Yeah, nice. So this is where this is the fun question. So what is a fun fact or a hidden talent that somebody may not know about you?
Well, I enjoy playing tennis. I started playing
Oh,
tennis when I was a teenager in Atlanta. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I still play tennis today. And I'm an intermediate player. So I enjoy playing tennis and crocheting and cross stitching.
wow, nice, nice. I'm not a good tennis player. My mom tried to teach me when I was young, but I would hit it and I would knock it over the fence. I just thought tennis was like baseball. That's not how you win, by knocking it over the fence. So, I don't know. I need a lot more practice. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
So now you kind of alluded to your story. Well, I'm jumping ahead. I forgot the fill in the blank question. I always ask the entrepreneurs a fill in the blank question. So your fill in the blank question today is entrepreneurship is blank to me because blank.
Okay, well, entrepreneurship is an opportunity for me to empower, transform, and elevate people
Mm.
by the books I write, because I write books on entrepreneurship, and I have one called Biblical Entrepreneurship here,
Oh, nice.
where I talk about the 7 steps to starting and operating your business God's way. And it's also an opportunity for me to help people realize their dreams of starting a business or a nonprofit organization. So that really helps me and blesses me because I know that whenever I do that, I'm helping to transform the lives of individuals in their respective communities.
Oh,
I'm
nice,
blessed
nice.
by that.
Yeah, yeah. We're as Christian entrepreneurs, especially, we're driven a little bit differently, right? We have God's will. Sometimes when you're not a Christian, you go out in search of these material things or these prestigious things, and you find it empty on the other side, right? Because
Right.
it wasn't God's calling for you. Right. So
Exactly.
yeah, really, really cool. I want to get into that some of that nonprofit stuff because I'm sure some of our listeners would love to know more about that side because many of them have for-profit businesses but aren't sure how to even go about getting into nonprofit. So we'll dive into that in a second. But first, I want to talk about your story. You kind of alluded to it a little bit at the beginning. Can you kind of carry on from where you were to kind of take us from your journey to where you are now?
Okay, yes. Well, back in 1994, I took a leap of faith and started doing my business full time. At that time, I didn't really have a lot of clients, and I was wondering where they're going to come from because I still had bills to pay. And so God gave me this idea to establish referral partners.
Mm.
And so I participated in a lot of networking events, met a lot of different people. Some people I didn't really need to be connected with because there was not synergy there in terms from business standpoint and values. So with the people I did connect with and continue to connect with, it's been great because we've been referring business back and forth. We've helped support each other, cross promote each other's events, activities, things of that nature. So it's been really good. And I've done a lot of interviews. I've done podcast interviews. Even I've done TV interviews before podcast came into play. So I really enjoy doing that and helping to educate people about the importance of starting a business and a nonprofit organization, how that can impact the lives of so many different people.
Nice, nice. So I want to actually dive into that a little bit before I ask you the secret question. So, if someone is considering a nonprofit, this wasn't a question I sent you, so I'm kind of off
That's
the cuff
okay.
here. if an entrepreneur was looking to start a nonprofit and they already have a for-profit business, can you tell about the different steps that they would need to take as opposed to what they did for their for-profit business?
Okay, yes. And I do have a book that they can get on this
Oh,
subject, but
nice.
very briefly, you have to have a vision. Have a vision, and my advice is to seek God as to what that vision is.
Mm,
And then when you seek God for the vision, also pray and ask God how He wants you to implement that vision. The vision might be helping youth, providing entrepreneurship
mm,
training, computer training for youth and young adults, for example. If He does, then God's going to give you the strategies to implement that vision. He's going to connect you. Ask God to connect you with people and disconnect you from people, because I truly believe it's a
mm-hmm,
two-sided coin.
mm-hmm,
Okay. So you're also going to need board of directors, and the board of directors are people who make managerial decisions regarding the nonprofit organization. So I have a resource called the Board Development Handbook, which talks about the duties and responsibilities of boards, how to have effective board member meetings, things of that nature. And you need a minimum of 3 board of directors. I normally recommend 5, so that
mm,
when you have meetings, you're gonna have to vote on issues.
mm-hmm.
So to me, 5 is a good number for that
Yeah.
purpose. And you're going to need certain policies like a conflict of interest policy,
Mm,
non-discrimination policy. So I do all that. I help you craft your vision. I can help you, of course, obviously, make it an official nonprofit corporation, get the 501c3 tax exempt status or 501c4, whatever is appropriate, and also uh, help you get funding.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs' ears perked up at that. So if we're going to get to that, but we're at the end of the interview, I'm going to ask Karmen to share how to get in touch with her. So if you're interested in starting a nonprofit and how to get funding for that nonprofit, we're going to put that information. We're going to share that information later. So stay tuned. And if you're watching this on a recording, that is in the show notes or in the description for the video. So that is how you will reach out to Karmen for anything that that sparks your interest, that she talks about, that she can help you with. So we will get to that. Now, a very big question. There are plenty of people that may want to start a business, right? But they have a fear over starting a business. So what is the secret to overcoming the fear of starting a business?
Okay, the secret is having faith in God,
Mm,
faith in the Word of God. And that's an ongoing process. To me, faith is more than just believing, it's depending, relying, and trusting in God, trusting in the Word of God. So the more you develop a relationship with God through reading, studying, and meditating on His Word, your faith is going to increase and fear is going to be removed from your heart and mind. So to me, that's the secret sauce, as they say.
yep. Yep. Faith over fear, right?
That's right.
And being, and it's one thing to proceed on our own will, right? But to have, it's kind of like I mentioned earlier, to have God, we're walking with God. It's a total different thing. It's a total different thing.
Absolutely.
So yes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
nice. We can proceed in faith because He knows He's there with us. So
God will never leave us or forsake us.
that's right. That's right. There's so many scriptures in the Bible that reference how He takes care of us. Um,
Yeah.
it's really amazing. So, staying on the path of the aspiring entrepreneurs, what advice do you have for anyone that has not yet an entrepreneur, is thinking about it, and wants to start their own business, other than making sure that you proceed in faith?
Okay. Well, the first step in my book, Biblical Entrepreneurship, really details this out in great detail, the different 7 steps. But the first step is to obtain a vision from God. What is it that God wants you to do? What does He want you to start? Who's going to be your target
Hmm.
market, your target population? And then once you have the vision from God, seek God as to how to implement that vision that He's given you. For example, He may want you to start a bakery and bake
Mm,
cakes and pies. Well, once you have that, pray and see God, well, how am I going to market this? How shall I market this? What are the strategies that I need to use? He could connect you with the people
mm,
to provide the ingredients on the supplies that you need. He's a divine connector.
Hmm.
So that's what I recommend. But I don't, I go into all the other steps in my book, Biblical Entrepreneurship.
Okay. Well, that again, that book will be available. You can read, like, we might even put a direct link to purchase that book below in the comments, as or not in the comments, but in the show notes and in the description. So
Okay.
be if you are an entrepreneur looking to start a business, that would be a very good or not an entrepreneur yet, but you're looking to start a business, that would be a very good reference for you. Now let's talk about a little bit more about faith and entrepreneurship. How do you integrate faith and entrepreneurship in your work? And how has that approach affected your client, impacted your clients?
Okay. Well, before I start my day, I pray to God and I study the Word of God and I study pursuant to how God's leading me, what scriptures to study. I may go read something in Psalms, Proverbs. So that encourages me and empowers me because I know if I don't do that before I start my workday, then my workday is off kilter. I'm not productive. I can't focus. So that's just letting me know, hey, get back and
Hmm.
put God first in everything that you do. So that's what I do. How I integrate faith in
Nice.
in
Well,
my entrepreneurship, and then there have been some clients that I've had, and they've been discouraged because they didn't really believe that they could start a business or start a nonprofit organization. So I encourage them from a biblical standpoint and said, hey, God is with you.
mhm,
All things are possible with God, but you have to
mhm,
believe, have faith in God and His Word.
yeah.
So they were very strengthened and encouraged by that. And so one of my clients a couple of years ago indicated she actually wrote me a letter and said, "Thank you for making my dream a reality."
Wow.
Truly blessed me tremendously.
Nice. Nice. Um, uh, Something I want to talk about in there. We also have to be proceed in faith, but be patient with God's timing, right? Sometimes things as our human nature is want things now, right? But God is molding us to be able to accept the things that He has for us on the other side. Because if we get them too quickly, then they may not last because we weren't prepared to have them, right? Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
God prepares us for what He has in store for us, and He empowers us to move in that.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Um, so can you also share a particularly rewarding experience you've had while helping clients develop fundraising strategies for their nonprofits?
Okay, what's the question again?
So see if I can summarize a little bit better. So can you talk about some fundraising strategies and how they have for your clients and how they have been rewarding for you?
Okay, yes. I have a book called The Fundraising for Nonprofits, and in that one book, I give clients over 15 different fundraising ideas that they can use and implement on an ongoing basis. And one of my clients used them, and one is to have a newsletter and get people to advertise in that newsletter. So she did that, and she got some really good play from that.
Wow. Wow. Nice. Yeah. So that's just one of the 15 strategies that you've mentioned inside of that fundraising. So once again, check that out. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be in the description for the video. Um, Thank you, Carmen, for such a wonderful video. Actually, I want to kind of extend it a little bit because I want to kind of dive in, if you don't mind, to more of what else you can help people with, because I don't think we touched on, like at the very beginning, we touched on some of from your legal background, some of the things that you can help people with. But can you kind of summarize again all the things? I know it might be a lengthy list, but all the things, all the ways that you can help someone.
Okay, yes. So again, what I do is I establish corporations, limited liability companies, a lot of nonprofit organizations, and we help nonprofits get their federal and state tax exempt status and get funding. And we also help with board development for nonprofit organizations. I write contracts of any kind. They could be business service contracts, partnership agreements, real estate, entertainment. And I do trademark searches and registrations to protect your business name and logo on a national level. And I do estate planning.
So, wow.
Provide estate planning services. I draft the wills, living trusts, powers of attorney, advance directives, things of that nature. And I have a book called The Estate Planning Kit,
Nice.
where I educate people about the importance of having an estate plan, how to protect their assets, protect their family.
Nice. So, also what we're going to do is we're going to put a list of all those things so that everybody can have an idea, not just listen, but also see in the show notes all the ways that you could possibly help them. All these legal things are things that businesses need.
Yes.
So, um, make sure you've done the checklist. Basically, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? If not, contact
Okay.
contact Carmen so that you can make sure that that is put in place from a legal perspective, whether it be your trademark, whether it be your agreements that you have with business partners, et cetera, that those are all drafted and ready to go. Thank you so much, Carmen, for this interview.
Thank you.
Um where do people go? Like, what's the primary place that we can send people to find out more about you?
Okay, they can definitely go to my website, which is compusperfect.net, compuse, C-O-M-P-U, perfect.net. And they can also email me at the letter K, Booker, K-B-O-O-K-E-R, 533 at gmail.com, or info@compuperfect.net.
Nice, nice. So those links will be down. So we'll have some links to some of your books, the link to your website, and your email address below in the show notes and in the video description, depending on where you're watching this. I just want to say thank you again. It's such great information that entrepreneurs can use. I have one last question that I ask every entrepreneur, and it's kind of just off the cuff. What advice do you have for the entrepreneurs watching?
Okay, my advice is to always seek God for leading and guidance. Because when you do, then success is guaranteed and failure is not an option.
Yes. Oh, wow. Yep. That is very powerful. Very, very powerful. Well, thank
Thank
you, everyone. Thank you, Carmen, again. And until next time, entrepreneurs, keep moving forward.
you. Thank you, Doug. And God bless you.